report once or twice since then. Officer Mello, can you give me an update where we are, please?
Yes, I went out to the property this morning and took a couple photos for you, and I can present that as an exhibit. Ms. Sutherland has been busy working on the property, removing the trash and debris from that location. Unfortunately, she's been taking it down to 43 Weber in Klamath and locating it there. So there's probably about 80 to 100 yards of trash down at 43 Weber now. And
Wait a minute. Are you indicating property from one location that she owns is now distributed to another property she owns? And we have a case on both properties, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. What else is going on?
That's about essentially it, just the moving the trash from the one nuisance property to another nuisance property, and I can submit exhibits 1 and 2 to reflect that.
I'll take those at this time. Okay, I'm handed two exhibits. Exhibit 1 appears to be several photographs. The property in question, the structure. The second photograph shows a trailer of trash and other debris. And there's a close-up of that on the third picture. Fourth shows the blue mobile home with the trash. The next photo appears to be another structure on the property I'm not familiar with from the evidence, and that somewhat concerns me. And the next photo is a close-up of that with somebody doing some work on it. The next two are basically the same. Before I look at the next photos, can you give me an indication of what's going on with this other structure on the property now?
Yeah, the fifth wheel trailer just been pulled onto the property about the time that the last hearing took place, and it's being used for occupancy. And they've further developed up and around the trailer. Looks like I got some flower pots. They put some skirting around the trailer, kind of made a little porch awning area with it.
Has there been any permits for this other
No.
structure?
No.
Do you know if there's still a sewer issue?
Yeah, that's yes. I've spoken with one of the neighbors, and they're reporting the odor of raw sewage, and then at times they hear what sounds like bubbling or water being deposited on the ground.
Exhibit 2 is 6 photographs, and one of the first one is a vehicle and a structure, and it appears to be Miss Sutherland in the background. And a nasty accumulation of trash and debris. Can you tell me what property this is?
And that was Exhibit 2?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the 43 Weber property, and the photographs depict the trash that was relocated to that location.
All right. Any other update?
And just, with the remodels and the modular, reached out to the state representative from Housing and Community Development, tried to see if he's followed up with Ms. Sutherland and if she's obtained the appropriate permits. I haven't heard back from them on that.
All right. Exhibits 1 and 2 and their subsections will be admitted as further evidence as to what's happening since the order is issued on the property in question. Ms. Sutherland, I'm very disappointed as to what's going on.
There's a deal when the house
the
house is for sale on 43 Weber. It's in escrow right now, and I give them $1,000 credit to go dispose of the garbage that's up there because I don't have the $1,000. So that was my way to get the garbage gone.
What would, I'm very curious to find out what in your mind thought was appropriate for you to put a numerous amount of garbage from one property to another. How did you think that was appropriate or get by somehow? We wouldn't find out about it?
It wasn't, I wasn't trying to hide it.
So what were you trying to do?
Get rid of the garbage that I was ordered to do within 30 days. And it is, because they're going to use that $1,000 credit when we close escrow and dispose of it.
What, well, right now we're talking about 1199 Kellogg Road, and that's the one that's on the calendar. I'm not sure when the Weber Street address will be on again, but let's deal with 1199 Kellogg. Besides illegally transferring trash from that property to another, what have you done to...
How is it illegal?
I'm sorry?
How is it illegal?
Dumping property is illegal.
On my property?
Yes, it's a public nuisance. You were ordered not to, you were ordered to abate. That means to get rid of, take care of, not to just
That's
move
what I
it,
did.
leave it.
No, that's not what I did. I took care of it. It's getting taken care of.
Well, it doesn't sound like it when it's on visible. Have you seen the pictures on?
I do not have the funds to do it right now, and that was my way to get it done.
This is,
Yes, yes. Our garbage is up there.
yes.
And there's a credit, $1,000 credit going for them to get a dumpster when it closes escrow to dispose of it.
Mr. Drossel,
Yes.
I spoke with the prospective buyers of 43 Weber, and there was no agreement of that sort made. In fact, once the property goes into escrow, it's against the law for it to change in conditions, so actually they're in violation of the law
There's an
there.
addendum written with my realtor.
It's not correct. That's not the information I got.
That was before the addendum was signed. I talked to him and he told me that you had called, and it was before I was in there.
Actually, the disposing of property from one location to another is beyond public nuisance. It could be a criminal sanction. And I don't know what Mr. Officer Mel is going to do about that. I guess he has some options, whether he wants to refer it to the district attorney or not. That's going to be beyond my input, but and what I do here. But I need to know now. We're going on since April. So, Mr. Mello, what needs to be done right now on 1199 Kellogg Road?
Well, there still remains quite a bit of junk, trash, and debris on the property. Possible sewer leak that the fire department has witnessed and neighbors continue to complain about. There's still the dilapidated structure off the back of the modular that's remains and is dangerous.
I have the permit to demolish, to get it.
It still needs to be taken
I
care
know.
of, and then there's the illegal occupancy of the gentleman in the fifth wheel trailer on the property that needs to be addressed. I think Ms. Sutherland has demonstrated that she can't correctly abate the nuisance conditions out there. Therefore, code enforcement would like to seek an abatement warrant.
You know what that means?
I've only had 30 days to do it. Can I get an extension? Doesn't it say that right here? That
Are
it's the
you-
intention of the County Board of Supervisors to minimize the burden placed upon property owners and taxpayers in carrying out the purposes of the county's public nuisance ordinances. Accordingly, those methods of abatement are to be favored which are least costly and which are most directly related to protecting the public health, safety, and welfare. Because voluntarily compliance is least costly method of abatement.
Well, that's true. You read from the county code on the intent of the Board of Supervisors to make sure that appropriate measures are used to correct public nuisance and
To
do
keep
it
the
in a
cost down, yes.
cost-effective measure. However, that doesn't mean that we're going to let the health, safety, and welfare interests of the county just slip by. So, for example, if I give you another 30 days notice regarding 30 days continuance for 1199 Kellogg, are you saying you can have a substantial amount of that?
Yes, yes.
All
It's
the
been
issues? You heard all the issues?
to get rid of the garbage and debris.
Yes. Besides garbage and debris, what else?
The dilapidated structure off the back of the modular, it's collapsed, the walls are collapsed in.
Oh, so you're not talking about that shed? I thought that's what the permit was for, is for that shed.
No.
It's for the, oh, it's for the, oh, okay. I'm glad I don't have to get rid of that shed.
All right, I'll give you, since it's been just about a month, I'll give you 30 days, and I want to see some substantial compliance. I mean by substantial,
I've done a
just
lot.
about done, if not everything
I know.
done. Do you understand?
Yes,
Mr. Drossel,
Yes.
how can we ensure that she's not going to illegally deposit
because I
this trash
already
elsewhere?
agreed with the realtors that day.
Yes.
We,
Do you understand?
yes, I should have brought a copy of the addendum.
The only place you can take that is
To
to
the
the
dump.
Delaware County dump,
Mm-hmm.
or some Klamath dump, or some other place where it's legally to take it. All right? Okay. Is that okay, Officer Mello?
Can she be
I know
required
you'd rather
to,
go in and get a warrant to have the county clean it up.
well, to ensure that it goes to the correct location, I don't know if Ms. Sutherland could be required to provide transfer station receipts to show that she's lawfully deposited these, or accept the Recology debris box placement that code enforcement can offer her, that we can be ensured that this debris is going to the transfer station.
I can take it to the, I'll give the receipts. I
All
don't
right.
know. The
Will you bring
dumpsters are
those,
more,
next time, and that would
Yes.
be June 21st at 2 p.m.
and I'll bring that addendum from the realtor too, to show that I was paying for that garbage too.
All right. Don't disappoint us. Anything else? Mr. Mello, anything else? Officer Mello?
Nothing further.
All right. That'll be the order. Madam Clerk, did you get that? Thank you.
Thank you.
The third case on the calendar is 371 to 391 Darby Street, Dennis Sutton. Mr. Sutton is here. If you please come to the podium, sir. Okay. A little update here, and I'm kind of quite familiar with this case. It's been going on for some time. See that an order of abatement after a public hearing was issued on 7/20, 2018, and so we're almost a full year now, and we've had several status reviews since then. And since the last one, we gave you 60 days to get things in order. Before I hear from you, Mr. Sutton, can you tell us what you know about the current status? Officer Mello?
Yes, over the last 60 days, since the last hearing, I've had several phone contacts with Mr. Sutton. He was discussing with me his research into purchasing some used mobiles to replace the dilapidated units on his property. Mr. Sutton had questions about what, legal requirements for what, kind of age of the unit he could put on there, or what he needed to do to get the permits to affect that. So I directed him to contact the planning department, building department, and the state housing and community development department, and get direction from those different departments or agencies. And Mr. Sutton has since done that, so there's been quite a bit of conversation with the planner and the building department on what needs to be done to get them permits and get this process started. So what I gathered from Mr. Sutton, that he's going to be looking to demolish one or two of the modulars and then replace them with units, and then sounds like he's going to refurbish one of them, which is in a reasonable condition to do so.
Okay, we started out with 4, and we're now, and Mr. Sutton took care of that one, demolished it, and they had it carried away.
Yes, there was a fourth
Down to
unit.
3, and you're indicating that one's going to be remodeled.
At least that's what Mr. Sutton communicated. He was going to demolish one and then eventually demolish the other. Sounds like he was going to replace one of the two with a new used unit, and then one of the units that's still there, refurbish it.
All right, what's going on, Mr. Sutton?
I've been in contact with the state, getting the rules that I have to go by, and then contact with the building department, and state told me to get a building permit from the city or the county, and I try to do that, and I have to have the property redone. I've called seven surveyors, and one of them finally called me back today after multiple calls. And since then I've talked, and there's an easier way to do it, I hope. Once I get that done, I can get a building permit, and then I can get a permit from the state and get started on the one. And I have a possible buyer for one, and they're going to rehab it if they buy it. If not, I want to do this one and then maybe do that one and demolish one of them and get a new one for in there.
Has, Officer Mello, has any junk or other debris and those vegetation been remaining cleared on the properties in question?
The property's pretty much been in the same state or condition since the nuisance hearings began. He does keep the property mowed. There is no accumulation of junk and trash floating around on the property. It's just the three structures themselves that are creating the public nuisance.
Do you feel we're making any progress whatsoever, or are we just bogged down and nothing's ever going to happen?
But
I know it's probably a guesstimate on your part, but I'd like your opinion.
yeah, I mean, I've had this conversation with Mr. Sutton. I mean, I'd like to see something tangible, permits actually pulled that at least give us some indication that he's going to move forth. But I can vouch that for over the last 60 days, he has been quite active in communicating with the different departments, trying to get that process started.
All right. If I give you another continuance, Mr. Sutton, what do you expect to get done in that time period?
Well, as soon as I get a permit, then I can get the state permit and I can get started on them.
Do you have the funds to do that, or is it?
Well, I'll have the funds to do one at a time. I can't do them all at once. There's no attractive nuisance there. The only problem is the neighbors don't like the looks of them. They were put there legally. I paid thousands of dollars to put them there. They're not an attractive nuisance. Just because the neighbors don't like the looks of them,
They don't like the looks of them,
that doesn't make them an attractive nuisance.
and they're put on the property in the wrong way, and I
No,
know
they're
you-
put on the only way I could put them on.
Yes. Did you ever apply for a variance of that?
Not after I put them on, no.
Okay.
And they were legal at the time. That I couldn't put them the other way, or I would have. I wanted them the other way.
All right. As you probably heard the statement from Ms. Sutherland in the last hearing here, and her problem, she indicated that the county's intent here is to try to get compliance without great impact on your costs, but that's obviously balanced with the time and other factors which I need to consider. How much time do you think is appropriate to Officer Mello, let's say, for another review, to get something substantially done, so I know that this is just not wind without results?
I believe Mr. Sutton could obtain the needed permits within 30 days.
You're suggesting a 30-day review, see where we are?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think, 30-day review?
I would rather have 60. I'm gonna try for 30. The problem is I have to have a mobile home guy come in and set the trailer for me. And I've got to get in line with him. I've already talked to him. And then once I get the permit to do that, then I can get the state, and then I can get on the ball and get something done. But I'm behind the ball trying to get the paperwork done. And I just learned today that I might be able to get it done pretty quick. And once I do that, I can move right along. But then I have to get other people to work to get it done, and that's gonna put me behind. The permit from the state's only 6 months, and it's gonna take me probably that long to get the mobile done.
Is there anyone else here that wants to be heard on this matter? No. Okay, I know we've had some public input before on your situation, Mr. Sutton, so
I'll try to get the permits in 30 days. I'd like to get it done.
well, I'd like to see some progress, and we gave you 60 days last time.
I asked for 90 last time.
Yeah. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you another 60 days, and I wanna see permits, and then once you have the permits, I wanna see some work done. And if you need to bring in paperwork for contractors, I would do that if I were you, because we're getting very close to having the county expend lots of money to take care of business, and I'm trying to avoid that.
They're not an attractive nuisance.
They're not good to look at.
That's
Yeah.
not, attractive nuisance is when
Well-
people, druggies are using them, there are people living in them, you know.
Well, I understand your position. Neighbors have different positions, and aesthetics in our community is important. For
The
people who have
neighborhood.
settled, we're taking each case one at a time, trying to get compliance. We don't want a situation as one neighbor or one witness, one of your hearing here months ago has just not put lipstick on a pig. You know, it's not going to work, so. Let's, I'm going to give you 60 days, and you know what's got to be done, and I want to see substantial compliance, and I want you to bring evidence or paperwork or people to show me that you're doing it. Do you understand that, Mr. Sutton?
I understand.
Okay. So, Madam Clerk, 60 days would what, be July 19? July 19, 2019 at 2 p.m. this location, unless you advise otherwise.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Next case on the calendar is In Re 884 Loft Avenue, Delbert and Beverly Kraft. Before we get started on that, I may be wrong, but you are Jeremy Delbert Kraft?
Jerry
Jerry,
William Kraft.
okay.
Or Delbert.
Back when I was a public defender contractor, did I represent you?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I'm going to, and you're living in the property, right? So
Yes, sir.
actually, action can be taken against you along with the property owners who are your parents. So I'm going to have to declare a conflict, and we'll have somebody come in to handle just this case, and we'll continue it
60
30
days?
days.
Your Honor, may I have 60 days? I am,
Sure.
I am right now trying to get home support services. I am a disabled veteran and only receive Veterans Disability Pension at this time. And so, I mean, in the last days, I've been working in the rain solid for the last couple of days. I do have a couple people working for me at this time, and I'm doing what I can, but I need that 60 days to show something real.
Yeah, are we still getting complaints from neighbors on this? This is a case involving dismantled or inoperative vehicles on a very small lot, as I recall. So, just curious.
Yeah, I haven't,
Is 60 days okay with you?
yeah, I haven't observed like household trash, and, you know, in rotting conditions. It's really an accumulation of vehicles, overgrowth of vegetation. So I think as long as Mr. Kraft understands that after 60 days, if he's not able to achieve a great deal of progress, then the county would definitely be seeking confirmation of the nuisance conditions and moving forth with actions that would eventually seek, cost recovery and be expensive, so,
I'm sure you'll see quite a bit. I mean, if you had seen it at 12 p.m.
I apologize, I couldn't make it by today, I was out looking at some other
You would have
properties.
been really surprised because we worked last night until like 2 in the morning.
And that's our ultimate goal here,
And
is to
in the
get
rain
compliance.
The whole time.
Mr. Kraft, let me ask you a question. Has, your knowledge, has Mr. Bill Cater ever represented you? He used to be a public defender contractor also. He may be able to fill in on me for a case. I'd have to call him, but does that ring a bell?
You would have to look it up. I'm not
you don't
really
know.
that familiar with many
Okay.
people. I mean, I remember
You remember
something
me?
with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you understand why I can't go forward on this one?
And
because
absolute, but I did,
Attorney-client
you see what I
privilege,
did.
confidentiality, all that
You
good
know,
stuff.
I'm
Okay,
an overachiever,
so we will,
what it takes.
we will continue it for 60 days. That'll be July 19, 2019 at 2 p.m. right here. We will, Mr. Mello will write that date down, Officer Mello will write that date down for you so you won't forget it. And what I'd recommend is start figuring out ways to
He
take care
would
of
have been
the,
really surprised.
take care of the problems on the property. That's the bottom line here.
I mean, me and the other guy were working last night until 2 in the morning,
All right. Thank you.
way overdoing it, way overdone. Okay, thank you.
All right. Next matter is in Ray 481 Cummings Road, a Sarah Sylvester Trust, and that's for a progress hearing. It's a Sarah Sylvester or anyone else regarding this property present in the hearing here. No response. Okay, this case is on for a status review. I see that on 11/16/2018, there was a public a hearing on a public nuisance, and after the hearing, I issued an order that there was a nuisance, and it was a 90 days was given to abate the nuisance, and I think we've had some status review since then. Could you give me an update, Officer Mello, on this property?
Yes, things are progressing very well with that property. The property owner's been working with the local volunteer group, Take a Bite Out of Blight, and some local contractors donated their time with their equipment, and we're able to get the garage cleaned out of gosh, I think 40 yards of trash. And so there just remains some loose ends to address over there, and we're on the path of getting that property into compliance.
So the bottom line is what?
Things are looking good over there. If we can get about another 30 days, I think we can wrap that up and then schedule cost recovery.
Great. Sounds some encouraging news.
Yes.
I'd like to hear that. So, June 21, 2019 at 2 p.m. for a progress hearing status review. Great. Next on calendar is NRA 5025 of Wonder Stump Road. Property owner Scott DeVore, and this is on for a progress hearing. Is Scott DeVore here? Oh, I think you told me he's, why don't you give me a status?
Yeah, so Mr. DeVore is experiencing some health issues. He's over in Medford right now in the hospital. I went out by the property this morning, and they have been working on it. They got some metal recycling bins out there. Looks like the modular was stripped down a little bit further. And then, yeah, I mean, it's progress.
We're making progress,
Yes.
and what's your recommendation?
I'd like to give them 60 days, push this out to July, I think we can get some efforts coordinated out there and get a substantial amount of work done with the weather clearing up, and then hopefully Mr. DeVore's feeling better by then.
All right, sounds appropriate. Have this on for a progress hearing status review, July 19, 2019 at 2 p.m. And I'm sure you'll have the notices, letter and notices go out for that. Next on the calendar, looks like the last one is in Ray 6661 Lake Earl Drive, Peter Sterling, or Hartley, AKA, I guess it is. This on for a status review. I see that on 7/20/2018. We had a public hearing regarding public nuisance. After the hearing, I issued an order. It needed to be, we needed to abate that problem, and 30 days was given to abate, and we've had many continuances for status review. What's happening now?
Mr. Sterling's caretaker got in contact with me, so they got a plumber out there and they got all the illegal hookups disconnected. They got one of the appliances out of that illegal washroom, and now they're trying to get an electrician out there to disconnect 220 and whatnot so they can tear down that unlawful structure. So we
All right.
finally have a little bit of progress on their end.
So that's good. You think we'll get the compliance?
I'm hoping within 30 days they'll facilitate that.
All right. And that's your recommendation, continue 30 days for review?
Yes.
Okay, that'll be the order, July 21, 2019 at 2 p.m. Status review, progress. I'm sorry, did you want 30 days? Yes.
Yes.
If I misspoke, I'm sorry, thank you. It'd be June 21? All right, thank you. 2 p.m. I don't see anything else on the calendar. Folks, do you have,
I just don't see what Sutton's doing in Smithville.
oh, okay, well, good. It's nice to have people interested in what's going on regarding junk and trash. And whatever. Thank you. Okay, that's a wrap.